All right. Well, first thing I see a lot of the same numbers from last year. I believe 9 of the 11 that we played in the bowl game last year are back, and so I think you see a lot of experience coming back. You see guys that are on the same page. They don't have many busts in their assignments. They're very multiple in what they do. They're playing with a lot of confidence, and obviously they're having a lot of success this year. But I think the biggest difference that we can see on video from this year to last year is just I think how sound they are defensively, and also very multiple in what they do from a coverage standpoint.
Good question.
It's different getting Deshaun ready for this year. He didn't suit up last year. It's his first bowl game. Kind of getting his mind right, or is he just so calm, cool, collected all the time that that's just another game?
I think he's calm, cool, collected all the time, and he's played in some big games this year, so I think he's prepared. If you know Deshaun, he's going to prepare just like it's any other game. He's not going to let the stage get too big for him. He's going to be cool, collected. I know he's going to be ready to go. He's excited. His teammates are behind him, so I just expect that he's going to come out and play, like he's played all year.
So what does it do for this offense? You look at it's 9 straight games over 500 total yards, and if you look at the breakdown, it's 200 plus rushing, 300 plus passing. As a guy who calls plays, is that perfect? Is that exactly what you want when it comes to you need to play?
I think a lot of it's dictated by what the defense is trying to take away from us. And I think later in the season we were able to get to a point to where we could run it and throw it kind of when we wanted to, and that's something that we challenged the guys. And it started early in the season with building confidence in the running game, and then we came alive about mid-season with the passing game. So, we start every game with a plan. We know we want to do running the ball, we know we want to do passing the ball, but we understand the defense structure-wise is going to take away something. So whatever they decide to take away, we're going to feature the other element of the game. But the guys, credit to the offensive line, the skill guys, Deshaun, all the receivers, backs, tight ends, they're playing with a lot of confidence. And I think the last 9 games has really shown that they're confident in being able to run it when we want to and throw it when we want to.
To that same point, we look at the receivers. As far as yardage goes, 7 different guys have led this team in receiving this year. 2 games, 7 different guys. To that same point, there's not a go-to receiver. There's makes it weird.
Well,
as a guy who calls plays.
Got the best receiver coach in the country. That's the reason why we got 7 guys that can lead, and just having all those guys ready to play. Big testament to Deshaun, understanding what we're trying to do from a schematic standpoint, understanding where to go with the football. And then just those guys being ready. We're not just at the receiver position. Every position, you got to be prepared to play, because you're one injury away, one rolled ankle, one snap away from having to be the guy to go in and win the game for the team. So just having confidence in all those guys, the way we practice. We challenge those guys in practice to make plays, and then Deshaun shows confidence in those guys throughout the course of the week, and he knows where to go with the ball, and those guys have had a chance to step in, and really proud of how they played.
Jordan Leggett's been a big part of the offense this year. How big is it to have a healthy tight end playing against Oklahoma this year?
Yeah, obviously that's one thing we noticed when we went back and watched our game with Oklahoma last year is we were in a lot of 10 personnel. We played 4 wides a good bit of the game because our tight ends were injured. I think we only had really 1 tight end going into the game. And Jordan's been a big factor for us all year. Really, when we first got going in this offense, we had Dwayne Allen. He was the perfect tight end for our system and what we want to do. And, we went and recruited Jordan to be that type of tight end. And, Jordan was a wide receiver coming out of high school, a big body guy that we knew could develop into being a blocker and really be able to do everything that we were going to ask him to do. And he's had a great year this year. And, just like Tony said, I think it's, this offense there's been times where we've had great backs. There's been times where maybe we had great wideouts. And I think this year we've got probably the best collection of skill that we've had since we've been at Clemson. I think that's one reason that we've been able to be balanced and not, just throw the ball to one side of the field or be predictable because, we've got the best quarterback in the country that's, able to disperse the ball out to a lot of great skill at different positions.
Gentlemen, hi, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
What is the most impressive impressive moment of leadership you've experienced from Deshaun Watson? That stuff we don't see.
I'll tell you, I think the last year playing in the South Carolina game, obviously we weren't aware of his condition until we got through that game, but just his leadership and going out and playing and wasn't quite as effective running the ball, but he stood in there throwing the ball. There was another play, I believe it was versus Boston College. We were playing, we had a call. He saw and recognized, actually I made a bad call. And he made me right, and he saw it, and not only did he see it, but he had confidence to check it to a freshman receiver, and they were on the same page. So those are the things that you don't see that we get to experience behind the scenes, and that's why we say he's the best player in the country.
And I think, that what sticks out to me this year, Deshaun is a different type runner than our previous quarterback in Taj Boyd. Taj Boyd was 235 pounds, was a downhill guy on 3rd and 1. We were going to keep the ball in his hands and run quarterback power. And Deshaun is a guy, the zone read, the outside runs. He does really well, with those type of runs. This year we're playing at Syracuse and having a little bit of trouble on the 3rd and short plays. And he comes over to the sideline. The first time he's ever said that, to myself and to Coach Sweeney. He said, next time it's 3rd and short, I want to keep the ball in my hands. I want to run it. And I thought right there that was a big moment in my mind, because coming into the year, coming off the knee injury, we're trying to be very protective and how many times we run him, what type of runs, are we going to send him right up there into the middle and those type of things. And so for him to come over and say, hey, I want the ball on 3rd and short, give me the ball, I think that's really, in my mind, where I went, okay, he's ready, he's full speed, and he's feeling it. And he's been a big part of our offense, obviously running the ball this year.
Gentlemen, they say with every great team, they always have a certain type of identity. If you had to wrap up in a couple of words, what's the identity of the Clemson Tigers offense? What would that be?
I think blue collar, just hardworking blue collar guys that don't care who gets the credit. And I think that's one thing that's been really unique, from a staff standpoint, with co-coordinators. Tony and I have tried to be guys to stay behind the scenes, not anybody that's out in front trying to get all the attention or all the credit. And I think our players, and we've got a lot of very talented players on that offense, but those guys have really deflected credit to each other, and nobody's really stood up and tried to take all the credit or the glory and just going to work, hard-nosed, really focusing on the process of what it takes to be successful. And I think, as coaches, you always preach that message about, each game's a one-game season. Let's be sure that on Monday we have the best Monday that we can have, and on Tuesday we have the best Tuesday. We've preached that message every year, but in my mind, this is the first year that I feel like our players have really bought into that and taken ownership in that. And so, especially, Coach Sweeney's always talking about, the next game is the biggest game of the year. And our guys really bought into that. And so later in the year, when we're getting ready to play Florida State and all the expectations and maybe the outside pressures that come, that's what our message was to our offense. Guess what? The best part about treating every game like it's the biggest game, when you get to the biggest game, you don't have to do anything different. So that's our message here is we're not going to do anything different than we've done. And our plan of preparation has been the reason that we've had the success that we've had. So let's stick to our plan. And I think our guys have really bought into that. And I think if we can get our players to focus on those things throughout the week, then it eliminates a little bit of the noise and distractions from the outside. I think that's, at least for me, been part of it.
And I would sum it up in love, care, serve, something that Coach Sweeney talks about. These guys, they really love each other. Because they love each other, they're willing to serve each other, and they're unselfish. They don't panic, and they'll do whatever it takes. And it's been an unbelievable year, a lot of fun. We're led by the offensive line, a great group of guys. Really proud of the way they've come together, because obviously they were talked about a lot prior to the season, and they've really gelled, and they've given us an opportunity to be in this position. But love, care, serve. They don't panic, and they'll do whatever it takes.
Obviously, being 13-0 is exactly where you want to be, but would you have liked to have seen at some point during this year how you would call plays, how the offense would do if you're trailing in the fourth quarter, if you're trailing 0 minutes in the fourth quarter of football games? Would you like to have seen how this team responds, or have just made everything working the way you want?
Well, I don't think specifically trailing in the fourth quarter is that big of a deal. I think adversity, and early in the year maybe we didn't have as much of adversity, but we knew adversity was coming, and there was definitely times this year that we felt that. I know Florida State game, and there were several others. South Carolina on the road versus your rival in a game that you're expected to win by a lot based on how the year was going, and just like Tony said, our guys never panicked. And that's one thing we talk about, right before those guys go out there to the field is, hey, expect adversity. It's going to come at some point in the game. So let's not be surprised by it. Let's just all come together, rise up, and continue to play and do what we do. And it's a 4-quarter game, and we feel like we're talented enough. If we'll play consistent for 4 quarters, then we're going to have a chance to be able to win and like the outcome. And so, even though it might not have been on the scoreboard, there was definitely some adversity that our guys have had to go through, and there's been some times in the locker room where, we're going to see how the guys are going to react, and I think that's one thing that's special about this offense this year at NC State. I know it was a scoring fest, and every time that we'd get up, it'd come back, and there were definitely some times where our guys had opportunities where I feel like maybe in the past some of our other offenses maybe would have kind of settled in and kind of become a victim of that adversity. This year, the guys have stayed focused and, really just continued to compete and go out and execute in the face of adversity. So, but no, I don't wish that we were trailing at any point in the fourth quarter this year.
Hey guys, there's a lot of the same players back for Oklahoma, but this is a different defense that you're seeing. What do you guys notice in your preparation? It's different.
The biggest difference to me, because really focusing on the run game, is watching the 3 down that they have. A couple new guys, but some of the same guys, but they look like they've leaned down a little bit. They're playing a lot more physical with their hands. They're commanding double teams, so they're letting the linebackers flow. The linebackers are very active. They're very experienced, got really good instincts. And then they got 2 really good corners on the back end that are playing at a high level with a lot of confidence. I think one has 6 and one has 5 interceptions on the season. They're safeties. They move well. They fit the run well. They cover more ground in the passing game than you would think until you really start to study the tape. So they're playing as a unit. They're communicating well. They're not letting you run the football. They're forcing you to throw it, and when you throw it, then they're putting themselves in position to make plays with the corners that they have on the back end.
5 minutes. What's there for playing into this 5 minutes?
Well, first and foremost, he was voted a permanent captain, which I think is one of the highest honors you can have in the game of football when your teammates select you a captain. But he's been the glue on the offensive line. I think he's really helped Jay in his transition back, and he's brought the best out of Jay. He just makes everyone else around him better because of the way he carries himself. What you see is what you get. So the same Eric McLean that you guys see in front of the cameras and in front of the microphone is the same guy that we see on the practice field. He's just a consummate leader. He cares about his teammates. He's going to go out and work hard every day. So he's just the kind of guy. If you're going to put a C on somebody's jersey, he's that guy, and that's what he's meant to our team.
Jim, it seems like you said that Deshaun said on that 3rd down, I'm going to carry it. It seems like you guys have taken that to heart. I mean, he does make decisions and is the guy you rely on 3rd down, is he not?
Yeah, he is, and I think just what offenses are doing, these days is a lot of run-pass combo plays where, there's a lot of times that he gets up there, he has, he can throw it here in the boundary, he can throw it to the field, or he can keep it and run it up the middle. And Deshaun is a great decision maker. I think I think that's one thing that is undervalued from a quarterback is not just making good decisions, but making them very quickly. And I think, he sees things right before they happen, before the play, and then when the ball's snapped, he just has kind of that 6th sense out there. And, as you go back and watch video, typically with those type of plays, you go back on Sunday and Monday and you sit down with the quarterback, and, if he made the right decision 70 to 75% of the time, that's about average. And Deshaun's in the 98th percentile of making those decisions. And I just think that speaks to his preparation. Brandon Streeter, quarterback coach, does an excellent job with him. But a lot of it, I really think, is just kind of a 6th sense. It's just an ability he has when things change. It's just a safety taking one step to the left. He knows exactly where he's going with that ball. And I think that's allowed him to be right, so that when he is running the ball, it's because there's the right numbers in the box, and you're not just calling a run and just running it regardless of what they'll look. He knows where to get the ball and get you in and out of good and bad situations.
Now, here's an offensive coordinator question. I'm sure you guys can share this. The mentality of your offense. You know, you have some offensive coordinators say, we're really going to break down the defense and go create a strategy to attack them. Or are you guys the offensive coordinators that says, listen, this is what we do good. We're going to stick with it, and we just dare somebody to stop it?
I'll start with it. You know, I think it's a combination. You know, we go into every plan with the plan to run the football based off of what we broke down off the defensive structure, a plan to throw the football as well. But then also, you know, not being bullheaded and saying that we're going to force an issue if it's not there. You know, being able to make the adjustments and see it. So if you're going to be geared up to stop the run, then we're going to have to throw the ball, and we're not afraid to do it because we have the skill guys and we practice and our guys believe in it. So, you know, I think the plan comes together. You know, Jeff does a great job in the passing game and putting together a sound passing plan. You know, myself, I spend more of the time on the run game. We collectively put the thoughts together, generate our call sheet, and really the flow of the game kind of dictates our style of play. Now we make sure that we do a good job throughout the course of the week of knowing what our guys can handle, that we don't put in too much, that we don't overdo it. We try to, you know, disguise some things, but at the same, we got our base offense, and then as the defense unfolds their hand, then we're going to try and counter with what we have in the plan.
And I think the biggest thing, too, with Tony and myself and a few of the other coaches in that room is this is our 5th year in this offense, and our coaches and players know the answers. And so if they're going to take something away, I mean, just immediately everybody knows what we're going to go to. So even though we want to look complicated and have multiple sets and motions, we're really very simple in what we're doing. And the offense is built off of having answers to dictate, you know, basically whatever the defense is trying to take away. Our guys, you come over the sideline, and before you're saying it, Deshaun knows exactly what we're going to go to. So it's really having that package together where everybody's on the same page and you have answers. And I think that's probably one of the best things about this offense, the way it's set up, is you have answers. And then when you have a quarterback that can make great decisions, he can get you to those answers at the right time. And that's probably been a big part of our success.
You guys are co-offensive coordinators. Almost in a sense, you guys are married. In every marriage, you have an argument. Has there ever been a time or a game that you guys went to a situation and you guys didn't agree and say, I don't know. Can you recall a game or a situation where you guys weren't in agreement on making a call?
We actually get this question a lot, and we actually were talking about maybe making up a scenario that would be a lot of fun for everybody. That's exactly right. But truthfully, we have not. And I don't know if that's because we're 13-0, but even being 13-0, things have not gone well every series of every game. But I think ultimately what it comes down to is our relationship goes back a long ways when we both played at Clemson, and then our trust and respect for each other, and then also the fact because we've worked together now for 5 years, you know, it's almost like I know what he's thinking, he knows what I'm thinking, so we don't even have to really get to that part. And our part too, being coordinators and being leaders, is we're an example to our offense. And so if our guys see us arguing and fighting and going at each other, then that's not the example that we want to set for our guys. And so I really think that the relationship that Tony and I have had, being the offensive coordinators, has really kind of gone down to our offense, and it's kind of helped the culture that we have in that room. That, I mean, really, it's not about, and that's what whenever Coach Morris left Clemson last year, we were getting ready to go play Oklahoma, you know, in the bowl game. There was a lot of questions, and, you know, Coach Morris, who was a big part of what we were doing, left. You know, our message to our players was the Clemson offense is in this room. You know, we love Coach Morris. He did a great job. We give him a lot of credit, but it's all about the players, and it's not about any coach. I mean, there's plenty of other coaches in our room that could get up and do what Tony and I do. It's not about any coach. It's not about any player. It's about this group together, and everybody's role is important. And so really fostering that environment rather than maybe just one or two people, I think, has been good. But really, we haven't had that moment yet. And all right,
Appreciate it.